Okay. Rescue 911. There's only one episode left of Rescue 911. Because I put the other 7 episodes on here Saturday.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin on the afternoon.
And now, Rescue 911.
At a small
Next.
airport in Frankfurt,
Rescue
Indiana,
911
where some
through
friends
Crime
were enjoying
Network.
the final weeks before winter set in.
When you leave the door, every cell of your body is focused on what you're doing. So that's the great part about the sport. It's so totally captivating.
Having performed
Okay,
in
this
these
is
exhibitions, Mark
3
Schrader
parachutes,
and Steve Tippett
and
were rehearsing a stunt
it's
known
also
as an
snake
intentional
bait.
cutaway.
So it's
On this
parachute
particular day, we were
accident
using
and
a very
snake bite.
small 12-foot parachute. Never was it intended for carrying a man. If you hang a man under this parachute, he's going to hit the ground at 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now, one more time on the exit. So I explained to him, here's the way it's packed. I want you to hold it between your hands, twist out into the airflow, and put it behind your head.
After riding the small cargo chute for a while, Steve would then cut it away so he could release his main chute.
We decided to do this jump from 8,000 feet. The higher you are, the safer you are, because the more time you have to deal with an emergency.
4 other people in the plane were planning to jump at 5,000 feet, including Steve's girlfriend, Angie Sellers.
I was getting ready to make a skydive myself. I had a new system that I'd never jumped before, so I was pretty nervous.
Mark planned to take still photos of Steve during the jump using a helmet camera.
We're excited about this. This is going to be a fun, very unusual, wild and crazy skydive, and we're both looking forward to it. Everything appeared normal. But as I passed him and began to deploy my main parachute, I noticed that the 12-foot of the small parachute was much higher above his head than it should have been. So there's an instant there that something's gone wrong here. I don't know what it is. I hope that Steve knows what it is, but at any rate, we have plenty of time to figure this out. With a 50-mile-an-hour rate of descent and me with a normal open parachute, the only way I could match his rate of descent was to put my canopy on a violent spin. And I'm spiraling, and he's roaring out of the sky. Every time I would slow down my spin, he would get further and further away.
Mark kept expecting Steve to cut away the small chute so he could open his main one, but he never did. Angie was unaware that Steve was having any problems.
And I just touched down to land and didn't even have my gear up. Parachute just behind me, everything's still on. And somebody else, Kibit's in trouble. And I just turned around, where? And my heart was going about 1,000,000 miles a minute. We thought, is he just pushing this just to get an extra thrill? What's going on? And it was getting lower and lower, and nothing was happening. I knew he was in trouble because at that altitude, if he didn't do something right then, he wasn't going to make it.
When we continue.
That's when it really started to hit me that, my God, he's going to have to land with this small parachute. And I had no reason to think that he could live through that.
This is Kate.
Kate, what?
I knew by your crate.
Someone called for an ambulance, while Angie and the others rushed toward the area where Steve was headed. There was no way of knowing exactly where Steve would land, but the Frankfurt Fire Department immediately dispatched rescue units toward the airport.
After the top 2/3 of the skydive has gone by and nothing has changed, I'm now hoping that he finds some way to get his reserve out. That has to be the next option. And just as I thought that he better get his reserve out now, I begin to see the red fabric coming off. But it doesn't catch air, it doesn't inflate. That's when it really started to hit me that, my God, he's going to have to land with this small parachute. And I had no reason to think that he could live through that. I mean, my God, I'm watching my friend probably die. From a great distance, he's just a spot. But he's going in.
I know what a bounce is. I've never, thank God, witnessed one, but there's no way on God's earth a person survives that.
I was screaming on the way down, just yelling to him, get rid of it, Steve, get rid of it.
At a car dealership down below, Ken Peters had just happened to stop by to look around, even though the lot was closed.
I began to hear voices, but I couldn't really tell audibly what they were saying. So I looked from side to side, couldn't see anybody, but then I just happened to glance up, and I could see 2 parachutes. The one, judging from the size of the parachute that he was coming down on, he was really in trouble.
I have another 20-30 seconds to spiral down, and during which time I'm thinking, what am I going to find? When I get to him, what am I going to see? Am I going to see my best buddy in a crumpled heap? I said, you get out to the highway and tell the ambulance where to turn.
The ambulance has been called. Get out on the highway and tell them where to turn in so they can find us. Steve.
When I got to him, I can't believe it, but he's alive.
Keep breathing, buddy. Cups on.
I started yelling, Steve, stay with me. Work on it. Fight it, brother. Stay with me.
Among the rescuers who treated Steve at the scene was EMT Richard Sheets.
I remember thinking there's going to be a very slim chance of this person surviving the fall from 8,000 feet. He had some minimal bleeding through his ears and nose and mouth, but he was conscious and able to talk to us. I was very surprised.
Angie and the others spotted the flashing lights of the emergency vehicles at the car lot.
And we looked over there, and I saw blood trickling out of Steve's mouth, and I just thought, there's no way. He had moved at that time or spoken. And then I heard him say, "Where's Angie?" And so I ran over there, and he looks up and says, "Hi, baby," of all things. And I wanted to touch him so bad, but I didn't know where I could, what I could touch. And the paramedic said, "You could hold his hand."
Steve was rushed to Clinton County Hospital, where he was examined by Dr. Janine Milet.
He had injuries everywhere, from head on down. He had breaks in his jaw, he had bleeding into his head, he had breaks in his chest, his ribs, his hip, his ankles, so he really sustained injury everywhere, his entire body.
Angie was at the hospital night and day as Steve slowly recovered. He still faced months of grueling physical therapy, but after 6 weeks, he was released from the hospital.
The emergency personnel that brought him in were key in making sure that this gentleman survived. One thing it probably did teach me was how much a body could take and still survive. I was very surprised.
How about you?
I had thought I was going to die before, but I wasn't never as definite sure as this time. I jumped out of the plane, everything seemed pretty much normal. But as I came out, all the lines entangled, which I didn't know at the time. And then I just threw that little parachute. And that's where all the entanglement started. And you've only got a matter of seconds before you know you're in the index. You know that book is over. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know that you're gonna die, that you just can't change it.
But Steve managed to survive in part because he knew how to land so that the impact was spread over his entire body.
And I thought, you're hurt, but you are alive. I kept thinking, I cannot believe I have lived through this. That would have been the thing I wanted to say to everybody that walked up. Can you believe I just lived through that? Can you believe I just lived through that? Amazing.
A year and a half after the accident, Steve Kivett and Angie Sellers were married.
After I started skydiving again,
Aww, that's sweet
people should never
and romantic. Steve and Angela married.
Next,
I was worried about the fire ants. And then the closer I got, I could see that it was cold and the tongue was just flickering.
Miller, robbers, bandits, crooks. See, top rate.
The TV ants.
Hollis Bennett was enjoying the holiday in the small park.
Rescue 911, Rescue 911, medical examiner.
And then the closer I got,
$60 a year.
Independence Day.
TV is for real.
True Crime Network. Updates, Rescue 911, Rescue 911. So it's not fire ants that caused a problem in this episode. It was a snake.
In the small town of St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, Independence Day is a time for celebration. On July 4th, 1991,
St. Tammany
Hollis Bennett was
Parish,
enjoying the holiday
that's
with
near
family and
Covington,
friends.
Slidell. Because my parents have a camp over there in St. Tammany. I don't think I've ever seen this episode before.
Hollis's wife Augusta was keeping an eye on their 17-month-old son, Kyle.
Kyle had been playing in the yard. He's wound up, full of energy, and wants to touch everything and see everything and feel everything.
Probably a poisonous snake, too. Like a cobra or something.
Hearing Kyle scream, Gail Hodgson ran to check on him.
I was worried about the fire ants. And then the closer I got, I could see that it was coiled and the tongue was just flickering. Once I saw that he was bitten, that's the only thing I thought of, was that he was going to die.
It was a copperhead snake.
If something happens to him, well then really I just probably just want to give up on life itself, because to me, he's everything.
Joe Taylor killed the snake to take her to be identified so the baby could be properly treated.
And I just assumed it was a copperhead. And I found out later it was a cottonmouth. It was hard to believe, because I've been out here 3 years.
It wasn't
I've
a
never
cottonhead, it was a coppermouth.
Snake bite is particularly serious for a child that small, who could die from the venom within a few hours.
Just hold on, miss. I got a call, okay? Hold on.
Paramedic George Swindling, already en route, was asked what first aid measures the parents should take.
Put a constricting band just above the bite site, not a target, a constricting band.
There are greater risks involved when a child is bitten by a snake, since a child is considerably smaller than an adult, and the venom has less body space to absorb into.
She was trying to be strong. Hollis was trying to be strong. They were trying to take care of the baby. And I was trying not to show how scared I was. But inside, I was just shaking.
It had only been about 5 minutes. Kyle's foot had turned black, and he was swollen above his knee. So I knew the venom was going up on him awful fast. I was scared to death. Mostly I was afraid that the paramedics wouldn't get there in time, and I would have to start CPR on my own child.
It had taken us approximately 19 minutes to get to the child, and he was conscious and still crying at the time.
They said only one of us could ride, so like my wife would being a nurse, I figured she would be more helpful than me.
They took off immediately. I was a little relieved. At least I knew that he wasn't gonna die right there in front of us.
I think at that point I realized I could let go. If he quit breathing now, they could do whatever needed to be done.
30 minutes after being bitten, Kyle was admitted to St. Tammany Parish Hospital and treated by Dr. Philip Gardner.
The top of his foot was all black and blue, and his leg was swollen up to the level of the knee. The concern was that there was still a lot of venom left in the top of the foot, and if that venom was absorbed and went systemic, that he did face the risk of death from the bite. The majority of snake bites that I see do not need any venom.
Dr. Gardner told Kyle's parents that he believed the boy's chances of survival were better with the anti-venom, even though he could suffer a fatal reaction to it. They agreed to take the risk.
He started crying again, daddy, 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 daddy. So I found him a little tune or whatever, and I just told him how much I loved him, and I was going to take care of him to the best of my ability, and wasn't going to leave him for nothing.
When Dr. Garner had told us that we needed to send him to Children's Hospital, I knew that he was pretty bad off because we have some real good hospitals here and they couldn't take care of him and give him what he needed. Then he was getting bad on us.
Throughout the 40-mile trip to Children's Hospital, they continued to administer the anti-venom.
It seemed like for every mile we traveled, that the bridge got 2 miles longer. I guess in a way that's when it all hit me.
That's probably the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge to get from Covington to Slidell. To get from Covington to New Orleans.
There was little anyone could do but wait and see how he responded. His parents took turns watching over him. On the third day, Augusta arrived to find a dramatic change.
He was standing up in his bed on his foot. I just knew that it was over with. Everything was going to be fine.
2 months later, Kyle has completely recovered from the snake bite. His parents are grateful to everyone who helped save his life.
It takes a lot to be a nurse or a doctor. Stand there and work on a little kid like that. All I can do is tell them thank you from the bottom of my heart. Everybody was great.
Kyle's now around animals, like elephants, like at the zoo.
So I'll probably be a very overprotective mother for a long time, at least till he's 25.
Wild Times at the San Diego Zoo. This is on Light TV, but it's called Rio now. It's educational and informative. Wild World at the San Diego Zoo.
Welcome to Parker Aviary here at the San Diego Zoo. Now there are 15 different species of birds in this aviary, and they're all native to Central and South America. Let's go see what we can find. Blending into their natural natural surroundings, these birds have their own unique display of colourful characteristics, song and dance. Here's a great example. This is the beautiful blue-crowned motmot bird, aptly named after their appearance and their unique motmot call. This male blue-crowned motmot is sitting in his favourite perch high up in the aviary. Watch as he waves his tail back and forth just like a pendulum clock. He's patiently waiting for a tasty insect to come into view. Ah, perfect. A mealworm will do just nicely. Look what we've got up here. It's a bird with a mustache. This is called the Inca tern. Both male and female Inca terns display this unique white moustache. They are quite social birds and tend to stay close to one another. You could say they live by the theory safety in numbers. But here in the park at Avery, they are free to undertake their daily activities relatively undisturbed. This Inca tern has chosen to take a lazy dip in the stream while he cleans his feathers. However, some of his friends have chosen to spend their day high up in the treetops making their presence known. They have spotted a golden-headed lion tamarin, not what you'd expect to see in an aviary. He's the new kid on the block, and the Inca terns want to make sure that he knows that this tree is their territory. It appears the golden-headed lion tamarin has got the message. He won't be lingering in this area for too long. Further along the trail, we find a token toucan. They are known for their brightly coloured beak, which takes up roughly 1/3 of their body size when full grown. And sometimes those beaks can come in handy when communicating with one another. And if you watch for long enough, the stories of the park at Avery will begin to unfold.
Routine doctor visits are an easy thing to do and a pretty smart idea. It's a great opportunity to make sure your body is working exactly how it should, and it can alert you to anything that may need further attention. Yes, whether you are 7 or 70, a human or a turtle, checkups are a great way to be your healthiest. At the Nashville Zoo, the doctor is in, and she has quite a variety of patients to see on any given day, from reptiles to birds and even mammals. There is never a dull moment when you hang around the veterinarian's office at a zoo. Today it may appear that they're throwing a party, but this cooler isn't full of soft drinks. Slithering in for a quick examination is a beautiful red-tailed boa. Just as you would expect from any doctor's appointment, the staff needs to get some basic measurements first. And when your patient's a snake, it can take quite a bit of creativity to do so. Now, up on the table for a closer look, it takes a few hands to tend to this somewhat squirmy patient. Even a quick visual check can help catch ailments early. When it comes to listening for a healthy heartbeat, a stethoscope may be a great tool to use on humans. However, with a snake, a Doppler flow detector will do the trick. Although needles can sometimes be scary, the gentle hands of the doctor make taking a little blood a breeze. And while here, this snake might as well get a quick dental exam. The veterinarian's office is a one-stop shop. The doctor also takes some time to run her hands along the animal, feeling for any irregularities in muscles and bones. With such a long and flexible body, a weakness in the snake's skeletal system can cause some concerns. Luckily, it seems our boa is in perfect working order. From the tip of its tail to the tip of its tongue, this snake has been given a clean bill of health. And our doctor is on to her next patient.
cages, parts and
menacing and solitary creatures, and that might have something to do with their striking appearance. Although this bird probably won't win a beauty pageant anytime soon, they're not as vile as you'd think. Recently, we visited the staff at the Carolina Raptor Center, where they explained to us just how valuable these birds really are to other animals and each other. The turkey vulture, the black vulture, the lesser yellow-headed vulture, and the king vulture are all part of a group known as New World vultures because they reside in North and South America. These birds share a very important job. They are part of the cleanup crew. They eat carrion, or dead things that others leave behind, like this black vulture is demonstrating. They are equipped to digest bacteria and disease that can easily kill other animals. Now that sounds far more helpful than evil to me. But what I find the most fascinating is how they help each other. Now you may think it's easy to catch prey if it can't run away, but sometimes it can be challenging to spot an animal that isn't moving. Especially for New World vultures. They can live in areas where things like tall trees might block their view. But that didn't stop these clever birds from adapting different ways to overcome that challenge. A dead animal tends to be a smelly animal. Along with excellent eyesight, some species of New World vultures must also rely on their nose to point them in the right direction, which is not common for birds. A turkey vulture, for example, has one powerful sniffer. They can smell a meal up to a mile away. However, some vultures need a little help from their friends. The king vulture sure has the market cornered on style with that brilliant coloration. But when it comes to sense of smell, it's lacking. Don't fret though, being one of the larger birds in the area has its perks. The king vulture will watch for other smaller scavengers to find a feast, and then push their way to the front of the line. Sure, the king vulture gets the first bite, but it is also tearing open the tough exterior that most smaller birds can't cut through. And in return, a smaller bird, like the lesser yellow-headed vulture, is able to clean up the remaining meat the king vulture can't reach. So really, if you wanted to describe vultures, clever, helpful, and supportive seem like the more appropriate words. The New World vultures are proof that you should never judge a book by its cover, and they certainly demonstrate that 2 heads and 2 beaks are better than one. At first glance, this animal looks very similar to those furry friends you may have at home. But as you look closer, you'll notice this is no ordinary dog. This is the red wolf. It's a member of the canid family, which includes 14 types of mammals, including wolves, foxes, coyotes, and yep, you guessed it, domestic dogs. In fact, the wolf is the ancestor of all dogs, both big and small. The red wolf is the most endangered canid in the world. At one time, they roamed all throughout the southeastern United States, from Pennsylvania to Florida and as far west as Texas. By 1980, this beautiful animal was completely extinct in the wild, but not all hope was lost. Today, there are about 40 red wolves in the wild in a small portion of North Carolina, thanks to reintroduction programs. Reintroduction is when animals raised or rehabilitated in human care, like at a zoo or wildlife refuge, are able to be released back into their natural habitat to help their populations rebuild. This has been successfully done with all different types of animals, but it can be difficult work. That's why this red wolf population at the North Carolina Zoo is so important. In front of the scenes, a couple of amazing animal ambassadors help to inform people about their species. While behind the scenes, one pair of wolves just had a litter of pups.
This program is educational and informative. And even though it says Light TV in 2021, Light TV was no longer around and it became the GRIO, G-R-I-O, African American Network.
Thanks for using Locast. We're a nonprofit and need your help to keep operating. Especially now, during the coronavirus crisis, Americans need access to local broadcast stations. Please contribute $5 a month. Thank you.
Yeah, Mrs. You get a nose in this dick?
10 years?
Being in his 80s, it makes to himself and becoming all day affair just to get from one side of his exhibit to the other. So imagine how difficult a trip to the doctor could be. And at his size, he needs special equipment that most suits just don't have.
1, 2, 3.
Since there were no CT scanners in the local area that could accommodate Al's large size and weight, he and the veterinarian staff would have to travel to get to one. But it is no small feat moving this giant tortoise. It took a specially made crate and a forklift in combination with 200 miles of driving for him to reach his final destination, the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, Illinois, where they have a CT scanner large enough to fit his enormous shell. Since you can't explain to a tortoise that they need to stay still during a CT, doctors anesthetized Al for the procedure. It took a large team effort to get him into place, and soon he was ready for his close-up, just barely squeezing through. It was quite the journey to get there, but it was all worth it, as this scan was helpful to know exactly what was going on in Al's foot. Now with this new information, his doctor could move forward with his treatment. Now safely back at his home in Michigan, the zoo staff will have to continue his treatments for some time. Al requires the use of a feeding tube because he didn't like the taste of his medication, no matter what treats keepers tried to hide it in. Al also needs the bandage on his foot changed frequently as it heals, which is done by his veterinarian along with a team of people. Thanks to the dedication of the staff at both the Binder Park Zoo and the Brookfield Zoo, Al is on the mend. Now he has many more months of healing, but we're hoping that he will be enjoying neck scratches from his adoring fans for many years to come.
Hey everybody, my name is Marco Polo Preciado Aldaba White. It's a big name and I got a big job. I'm a senior bird keeper here at the beautiful San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Now, working at an exhibit with all this array of different wildlife and different habitats, we have to really understand the animal's natural behavior. So it's not only food, it's not only water or providing shelter, but also highlighting those natural behaviors. For instance, I'm not going to be offering nesting material for giraffes.
Ooh, giraffes. I love giraffes. They're
Well, the
beautiful
crown cranes are in our
animals.
Delta exhibit. They're a water-based species, so we offer that type of material to know that we can highlight natural behaviors. With different species, for instance, the cassowaries living in a thick rainforest habitat, water plays a key role. They're big swimmers. Cassowaries love to swim. So providing a wall for the birds to get in, it's not only fun for the cassowary, it helps their feather production, helps them keep them nice and clean. It also simulates those natural behaviors that we're looking for, that they exhibit out in the wilds of Australia and New Guinea. I love birds. And you know, as a little kid, I was a huge fan of dinosaurs. They were my absolute favorite, and I always wanted to be a dinosaur keeper. And I thought, today, what is the closest thing? Birds. And it's an amazing opportunity to work with today's modern dinosaurs with an amazing bird collection here at the Safari Park. So becoming a zookeeper, I have three main things I always like to tell the kids out here at the Safari Park. One is knowledge. Growing up, I always went to the zoos, local parks, recreational areas, went to the library and learned all about lions, bird collections. Knowledge is very, very important key to be able to highlight some of the work that you do here at the Safari Park. And not only that, having a passion, finding out what gets you excited. For instance, for me, I'm a big fan of dinosaurs, and from that, it was very easy to transition into birds. And also, volunteering. You can always volunteer at any age. Get your families together. Go to your local shelters. Go to the zoos, rehabilitation centers, and you can start getting a lot of experience and know what really gets you excited working with wildlife.
In the state of California, it's against the law to hit a police officer, so I'm afraid you're on their list, and I've got to read you your rights. Understand? You have the right to remain silent. Ow! right to speak with an attorney and to have an attorney present?
This week, right here on The Grill. This is the 2021 Medicare Benefits Update, brought to you by Easy Medicare.
Hi, I'm Joe Theismann. Did you know that there are amazing new Medicare benefits in 2021? Now more than ever, it's important not to miss out on even one Medicare benefit, like in-home meal delivery services and telehealth services, making it easier to see your doctor without leaving your home. You may also be eligible for $0 copays, $0 deductibles, and $0 premiums, which means nothing out of pocket for you. Do what I did. Call the EasyMedicare.com hotline to see if you qualify for more benefits. I'm very glad I called, and I think you will be too. Find out now if you're eligible for dental, vision, hearing, in-home meal deliveries, telehealth services, and prescription drug coverage.
Call the Easy Medicare hotline right now. Our licensed insurance agents are waiting to give you your free, no-obligation consultation. Call 800-714-9552, 800-714-9552.
Welcome back to Wild World at the San Diego Zoo.
In nature, it's all about survival. Different animals have different techniques and adaptations to help them avoid danger. Some animals have size on their side. Some animals believe in safety in numbers. And some animals prefer to blend into their surroundings. That's quite a popular one, actually. Camouflage is one of the most widespread adaptations. Animals all over the world use this technique to hide from predators and to sneak up on prey. Even an animal that is high up on the food chain, like a cheetah, uses camouflage as a juvenile. That extra long, fluffy fur on their backs helps to conceal them from predators in the long grass. Which brings us to today's Wild Wonder. This one comes from Alana, a patient at Lady Sorrento Children's Hospital in Australia.
Why are baby tapirs born with stripes and spots and look like a watermelon?
That's an excellent question, Alana. But before we answer that one, let's take a moment to appreciate just how adorable our baby tapir is. You're right, Alana, he does look a little bit like a watermelon. But why? Let's revisit our cheetah cubs for a second. Remember how they grow that long fur to help them camouflage? Tapirs do the same. They grow a special fur to help them camouflage too. When a female bird's tapir gives birth, she conceals her calf in leaves and vegetation beneath the dappled light of the forest. As the light filters through the trees, it creates scattered shadows on the ground, which mimics the pattern of the baby tapir's fur, allowing the newborn calf to blend in, giving him a better chance of survival. Thank you for that concealment question, Alana. If you guys have any other wild wonders you'd like answered, head to our Zoo Kids Facebook page. Until then, I'm off to find some more camouflage creatures.
Today we're here at San Diego Zoo in El Panassi, and we're getting an update about our baby bear's tapir, Don. So today, Don is just over 3 months old, and he weighs in at 125 pounds. He's still getting 3 bottles a day, and he also supplements that with some vegetables, some greens, and some pellets. And his favorite thing right now is little parts of trees that we call browse. And his favorite type of browse right now is ficus. Also, right now we are introducing him to our other adult tapirs. He is currently out on exhibit with our older female, Rachel. The introductions are still in the new phase. Currently, they interact some, but right now Rachel is really into sleeping. So Don is learning to explore and be on his own and sleep when he wants to. As he grows, we expect him to gain about 2 to 5 pounds a week. And at full grown, he will be between 500 and 600 pounds, and he will reach that milestone when he's about 3 years of age.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time on Wild World at the San Diego Zoo.
News, movies, and the biggest names in entertainment.
For the first time, we're acting together.
Black culture and bravado. You're watching The Griot.
Another hour and we'll begin. Would you rather I didn't go?
No, you might as well come to the game. I'm gonna follow my face. It might as well be in front of you too.
You won't fall down, Donnie.
I won't try and we'll do it. You think I can run? Wait till you see me run this afternoon. I can't break in with just a scratch hit the fielder's choice. I've got to set them on their ear. I've got to be the best ball player they've ever seen anywhere.
That's
Next week, right here on The Griot.
Let's see it through.
This week, right here on The Griot.
You working here?
She's just helping out, Arnie.
Then she needs a green card, you know that.
But she's not working.
Your tourist visa's expired? Look, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to report it.
This week, right here on The Griot. Thanks for using Locast. We're a nonprofit and need your help to keep operating. Especially now, during the coronavirus crisis, Americans need access to local broadcast stations. Please contribute $5 a month. Thank you.
Sorry, I was out walking, so when the video finished playing, I wasn't here to put on the new video.
Cautionary tale.
The effects of alcohol in the body play a tremendous role in the deaths that come through my office. In fact, it's estimated at least 100,000 people die in the United States a year as a result of alcohol. Never underestimate the power of alcohol in destroying your life and your body.
Animal Rescue Heroes coming up next.
Animal Rescue Heroes on True Crime
The
Network.
following program
Educational
contains
and
actual video of
informative.
real animal emergencies and is suitable for family viewing. Coming next, a dog and his owner fall down a cliff. Plus, what happens when dogs have bad teeth? And wild animals in the backyard. This is Animal Rescue Heroes. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Payne. In a suburb of Los Angeles, a man and his dog get into some big trouble after chasing a wild animal in their backyard. They now have both fallen down a steep embankment.
They need some help down there, so we'll need another guy.
LA City firefighters are called to the scene and must attempt a dramatic rescue. The terrain is treacherous, so ropes and a litter basket are needed.
We arrived on scene. We had the owner of a large, very large golden retriever, approximately 150 pounds, over the side of a very steep slope, about anywhere from 100 to 150 feet down. Past their location, it got even steeper, so it was almost a vertical cliff down below there where they were.
Pick up a little tension on the line.
So we utilized our rope rescue techniques to secure the person that was trapped and the dog.
Okay, go ahead and pull on that drop back line. You're gonna need to pull all three guys at the same time and a litter basket. Hold on.
They're trying to pump that dog into the basket right now. The dog, obviously traumatized, needs to be muzzled before he's pulled up the cliff.
Is the dog secure if you let go?
The dog's in the basket, but he's punched up at the bottom of it.
Is he strapped?
Not yet. We're looking for the strap.
Real emergencies involving animals and the people who help them. See, it says Justice Network because it used to be Justice Network, but it's True Crime Network.
To chase a coyote, and he had gone down and become entangled in the undergrowth, and in struggling to get out of the undergrowth and also to get back up the cliff, he became exhausted. So what we were dealing with was about 150 pounds of dead weight, and it made it tough to try to stabilize the dog and the owner, and then also get our people down there and work from a safe position to get them into the litter basket so we could bring them up.
Good. Okay, what do you need to take us?
We're trying to strap the dog better. 24 white line.
Okay. We're gonna take up slack on 24 white.
That's good.
That's good. 24 white is good. Keep going.
The owner assists firefighters as they muscle their way up the steep embankment.
Take my slack up.
Hey, wait, Mark. Hold it. Mark, are you okay?
struggle with this heavy but precious load. However, no one wants to give up.
Keep coming. Keep moving. Pull it. Pull it. Go. Keep pulling it. We gotta get the motors picked up. Okay. Pull it. Hard on that. Pull it.
Finally up the hill, this large pooch and his owner reached level ground once again.
I didn't expect for that many firemen to come out, but they did a good job.
A grateful family and a happy ending, thanks to the caring members of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. Next up, did you know that bad teeth can lead to the premature death of your dog or cat? This is an animal rescue story you don't want to miss.
So if we didn't routinely clean these teeth, and then eventually, for sure that we would lose this tooth, and also it would be painful.
Mine will call ahead and be safe.
Welcome back. Bad teeth can prove fatal to your beloved dog or cat. It's true, periodontal disease can lead to blood infections or worse. Fortunately, many animals are saved by visiting their local veterinarian.
Let's drop half a cc of Ketval.
At the Wilshire Animal Hospital in Santa Monica, California, Dr. Frank Levac saves lives every day. And part of his emergency work includes treating cats and dogs with life-threatening dental diseases. Today, 2 small patients have problems and need immediate help. Game Boy, a cute Maltese, and Yorkie, a spunky Yorkshire Terrier.
Come here, Game Boy. Here you go. Okay, Game Boy does have some dental disease, and we'll show that here. He's got gingivitis, which is redness of the gums, here, and he also has tartar accumulation on his teeth. This particular tooth here is a 3rd or the 4th upper premolar, and that's a tooth that most commonly gets a lot of tartar accumulation. As you can see, the other teeth as well do have tartar accumulation, and we do have inflammation of the gums and gingivitis. One of the problems we see very commonly is in small dogs is that they have crowding of the teeth, and that crowding predisposes them more to dental tartar and plaque and gingivitis. If they do get significant gingivitis, the teeth can abscess. Sometimes also they can lose the teeth. And you can see here with Game Boy that he's lost all of his upper incisors. They're all missing. Okay, now that's not the end of the world. Dogs can still eat often very well without teeth, but we want to preserve the teeth if we can, both for aesthetic reasons and making sure that their dental health is in good shape. So we're going to go ahead and anesthetize him now. And then very shortly he should start getting quiet. And there he goes. He's very sleepy. And then we're going to hook him up to the anesthetic gas. And then we're going to hook him up to a respiratory monitor, what's called a pulse oximeter, which measures oxygen level, as well as a Doppler, which we're using just to measure his pulse.
It's all advanced medical technology to monitor the pet's condition.
The kind of anesthetics we use now, we didn't even have in the hospital 15 years ago. So we've made really major advances in both in actual anesthetic procedures as well as monitoring. But all these instruments help us know how stable the animal is. Of course, in Game Boy, we took a blood test ahead of time to make sure the internal health was okay, and his blood test was fine. Check his heart and make sure that everything's going okay there. Heart is nice and steady. You can see how delicate the gum is just from gentle probing. It didn't happen in this tooth, but on this tooth here, just the gentle probing caused bleeding, indicating how much inflammation we have going on. Cleaning this tooth up will try and save the tooth. If we didn't routinely clean these teeth, and then eventually, for sure that we would lose this tooth, And also it would be painful. Something that's often not addressed with dental disease is the pain associated with certain dental teeth. But also, again, this would serve as a source of infection for the rest of the body. Okay, so just going to get started here. And she's an ultrasonic cleaner, and you'll see she'll start removing the tartar off the teeth. The ultrasonic cleaning is much more gentle on the tooth than actually getting a metal instrument and scraping the tartar off the tooth. I'm more concerned about the remaining teeth than I am about the teeth that he's already lost. Dogs and cats can live a healthy life without teeth in their mouth. If we don't aggressively address dental care in these pets, they can get infection in their mouth, which really can serve as a serious source of infection for the rest of their body and can actually shorten their life. As far as actually home care, home dental care, there are a lot of adult dogs that never had their teeth brushed before, and so they're very resistant. And I recommend a very kind of easy introduction to dental care at home, where initially you might take some of the doggy toothpaste and just have it on your finger and let them lick it off. Or just take your finger and just rub your finger on their gum. Just kind of put your finger in their mouth. Get them used to the idea of having your finger moving around their teeth and into their mouth. And do that, make it a very positive experience. And then I work my way up to a toothbrush. And you start gently kind of lifting the lip and brushing one tooth and stopping. You want to make it a long, really positively reinforced process.
Once the teeth are cleaned, they're now polished. A paste is used to grind microscopic imperfections on the tooth so that the tooth is smooth, making it harder for the tartar to form again.
Well, one of the benefits of a normal routine physical exam is to allow the veterinarian to actually look in the mouth and assess for dental problems and foreign bodies and tumors. Additionally, and that's one of the benefits of home dental care, is it forces the owner to kind of open the mouth and look around, evaluate the teeth. So it is an important part of kind of the home health care for your pet is opening the mouth and looking around. Move it back and forth. This molar here is loose. So that tooth has been abscessed and has lost so much of the attachment of the root to the bone that we're going to need to remove that tooth. Because otherwise, it'll just be painful and it'll serve as a source of infection. So that's what we're going to do now. And it came out pretty easily. Normally, this tooth would have been very difficult to remove if it was had normal roots. But all three of these roots are abscessed. This is not dissimilar from what happens to you or I when we go to the dentist. The thing is, we are cooperative patients, and there is no dog or cat that will allow this kind of really aggressive and appropriate cleaning while they're awake. The Game Boy will probably be kind of groggy for another couple hours, but by the end of the day, he'll be up and barking and ready to go home. It's a very good thing we took a look at Game Boy, and certainly under anesthesia we're able to not only evaluate his dental health, but then really identify that loose tooth, that abscess tooth, and remove it. So that's really good for his health. The signals of dental disease in dogs and cats are anywhere from a foul smell to the mouth to decreased appetite, weight loss, pain while they're eating. You sometimes can take a bite of food and drop the food, especially if it's hard food. They can have a fever from a dental abscess. Now it's Yorkie's turn. You can see a lot of tartar and gum receding here on the canine tooth. A lot of tartar on the incisors. We have, see that incisor is loose there, so we'll be extracting that incisor. And that hurts. And this tooth here too, we have a lot of tartar. The gum is receded back. So Yorkie has a lot of dental disease. Okay. Now Yorkie is ready to be anesthetized. He's already been tranquilized. We have an intravenous catheter, and this will make Yorkie very sleepy.
Dr. Levac spots two major problems with Yorkie.
And we have a loose incisor. We have this molar that's loose as well that we're extracting. Yeah, I've extracted the tooth now. There again is a tooth with the roots abscessed. There's a lot of tartar surrounding this tooth, so you can't even hardly see the normal tooth. There's so much tartar on it.
Dr. Levac now takes out Yorkie's loose incisor.
There Here again, you can see the tooth there with the tartar accumulation, and the root has been altered from the infection.
Yorkie's remaining teeth are cleaned and polished, and then he too is placed in a holding cage to recover. Back at home, Game Boy and Yorkie are as rambunctious as ever. Their dental treatment helping to ensure a healthier life. If you have a question about the condition of your animal's teeth, check with your local veterinarian. You can learn more about animal rescue safety tips by logging on to our website, www.animalrescuetv.com. Next up, an exotic cat is found wandering in a neighborhood. Critter. Finally caught, this exotic pet will now be quarantined and then returned to its owner. Meanwhile, in another backyard, a very long snake is spotted. And once again, the Los Angeles City Fire Department and Animal Control are called in. In very short order, the serpent is caught and brought to the transport vehicle. But while these rescuers believe their work is done, the huge python presents them with another test. The snake is trapped on the rubbish hook, and it will take some liquid soap to set it free from the garden tool. Not so far away, in another Los Angeles backyard, a bear is reported sleeping. When authorities arrive at the scene, they know they must tranquilize the wild animal if they are to capture it. An animal control officer prepares the drug and then moves into his target.
There he is.
Hidden by trees and brush, the bear must be removed from this urban setting to protect the neighborhood, as well as the bear itself. After successfully darting the animal, authorities will now relocate the bear to a safer place, back to the forest in his natural habitat. Animal Rescue returns right after this brief break.
Taxes and 8.
My car.
Or the tax guy that
With Optum.
actually leave in.
There are more than 700 kinds of plants that may be poisonous to your pet. Everything from azaleas to daffodils. Even the leaves of tomato plants can be harmful. If you suspect your pet has eaten a poisonous plant, watch for symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, or loss of appetite. Take your pet to your nearest vet and also bring along the leaf you think he has eaten. And that's this edition of Animal Rescue. Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we showcase those caring individuals who help the various creatures in the animal kingdom. I'm Alex Payne. On the next Animal...
This is men's gymnastics, Penn State, Ohio State. Is this at St. John's Arena or is this in Pennsylvania? Wondering who the home team is. All right, Penn State took the lead again, 376 to 367. Okay, Penn State took the lead again, 389 to 380. .389 to 392. Boy, it's close between Penn State and Ohio State. 403-4 to 392. Penn State took the lead again. Oh, now it's close. 403.40 to 404.95. I wonder if this is exhibition or if the score will count towards the team's score. The guy that's doing Ohio State, high bar. $405.50 to 403.90. God, that was a close meet. Woo! They're all together on the floor where 4 exercises are performed. The spring floor. I think Ohio State was the home team. I think this was in Columbus, this meet. There's going to be another meet I'll post Nebraska, Michigan, that's women's gymnastics. I post women's and men's gymnastics. Okay. Go to Streamium, live TV and DVR. I'll put dog tails on.
During the coronavirus crisis, Americans need access to local broadcast stations. Please contribute $5 a month. Thank you.
Ah.
Whatever life has to offer.
$11:52. Valentine's Day is almost over.
You're extraordinary.
I can't believe that today our little Darlene is getting married to our little David. Yeah.
Tales, coming up next on True Crime Network.
Cocktails, Family Edition. America's premier dog lovers magazine show. All the latest news from the dog world. Right now on this edition of Cocktails, Family Edition. Meet the Tristan family from Georgetown, Texas. Proud owners of Sheldon and Fancy, two lovable pooches.
We got Fancy from Cocker Spaniel Rescue of Austin, San Antonio. And they're a wonderful organization. We got her about 2 years ago. She's 11 years old now.
She's a blonde with a couple of white spots on her. And she just likes to hang out around the house and just stay with my mom mostly.
As soon as she jumped out of the car to come over the first time, she made herself right at home, went out the doggy door in the backyard, so we just knew she was a perfect fit for the family.
Her owners were going to a nursing home and they could no longer care for her. So we knew we wanted to adopt. We didn't want to go
This
through
is
the puppy
EI,
phase again.
educational and
We had the previous
informative.
2 dogs, we had them as puppies, and while it was a fun experience, it's one that I would rather not repeat.
I think it is very beneficial to go through an organization, a rescue group, because if we haven't gotten Fancy, there's no telling, where she might have ended up.
In Fancy's case and Sheldon's case, I think they both came from probably very good families, you know, and I just hate to see them, you know, go to wherever, a shelter or whatnot.
Cocker Spaniels do require grooming, usually every couple of months, depending on how long you want to keep their coats. And sometimes they do have little issues with their ears. Since they're long and heavy, they tend to get ear infections, but that's easy maintenance with just ear cleaning. Fancy just loves to be in your lap, and she loves to snooze. She's a very good snuggler. That's what I love about her. And she's just really low maintenance, pretty much.
And she loves the car. Anytime there's a vehicle outside with an open car door, Fancy will jump in whether she knows him or not.
Whenever I come home, they're just waiting at the door for me. I can see them through the window every day, and then to just see their tails wagging, it just cheers me up a lot.
That's the best part of my day, is getting home and seeing the happy tail wags and wiggle butts from Fancy and Sheldon. They're always happy to see us when we get home.
The dogs' names are
Sheldon
Fancy and Sheldon. Sheldon reminds me of the character from The Big Bang Theory. Sheldon Cooper.
Is 6 years old, and we adopted him about a year and a half ago. He was just found as a stray, and the owners never came forward. I picked him up to foster him. I had such a great experience adopting. So
One
Sheldon
dog is a
was
black
one of my
dog.
first fosters.
One dog
We
is
had him for about a month. He even went on a
tan or
sleepover with
white.
another family, but Sheldon, he chose us. It was obvious he was meant to be ours. He bonded with our two boys really well, and he is just such a laid-back, mellow, easygoing guy.
And he just likes to run around. He's always happy. He's like never sad. He just likes to go around and cheer people up.
Sheldon likes to fetch, but Fancy doesn't like to fetch.
Well, Sheldon's a really playful. He's got a lot of puppy in him. He's 6 years old, but he still acts like a little puppy.
Sheldon loves to go for walks. He knows every bank and every place that will give him a treat in Georgetown. He gets so excited when we go to the bank because he's looking forward to that treat.
Sheldon loves to play with the boys. He loves his bones. He's a very active dog. He loves to chase his ball. He likes to play tug of war. He's just a typical male dog.
There's a funny part where Sheldon howls. He loves to howl too.
We had him about a year, so this was just about 6 months ago. We were just acting silly and howling, the boys and I, and all of a sudden Sheldon threw up his head and started howling along with us. So we always laugh at Sheldon and say that was his little hidden talent that he hid from us for about a year. They're very good watchdogs, especially if someone happens to ring the doorbell, they go crazy.
Whenever I'm sad, they'll just come up and they'll be wagging their tails, and that'll make me immediately be happy.
Especially after a hard day at work, you know, you may have been bummed out or whatever, but as soon as you hit the door and see those dogs, everything changes. These dogs mean the world to us. They're part of the family.
We love them with all of our hearts. They're great doggies, great companions, and they can always cheer you up when you're having a bad day.
Our thanks to the Tristan family for inviting us to their home and sharing their dog tales. Next up, our Spotlight Breed, and much, much more on Dog Tales, Family Edition.
Did I tell you I'm...
Sure, it's coming. Fugitive.
Family Edition.
Anywhere in the country.
Leah
and rape of a
David
child.
Allen Bonus.
Vanessa had been having
Rape
sexual
of a
contact
child.
with a 17-year-old girl since she was 12.
He's
He has
sick.
been on the run since 2013
True
and has
Crime
ties
Network,
to
Be
Wyoming and
Safe,
Nebraska,
Most
but
Wanted.
could be anywhere in the country. If you have any information about David Allen Vaness, call
David Allen Vaness.
1-877-926-8332.
It's midnight. It's the 15th.
Family Edition. I'm a very special dog. Everybody loves me. I'm a bundle of joy with a pedigree.
Rocky is a French bulldog, and French bulldogs are a purebred dog. They were originally derived from the English bulldog, a lot bigger, and they wanted to develop a smaller dog that was very compact, humorous. It was actually bred in the mid-1800s. Now, the reason I got him is I was observing these dogs for a couple of years, and they're extremely humorous, funny, and they have like a little attitude, like a Winston Churchill dog. And they get a lot of attention. And my cat had died about a year and a half ago. I didn't want to get another cat to remind me of my cat. She had too much personality. So I thought, I'm going to get that dog because it has a great sense of humor. The French bulldogs are extremely friendly, and they are easy to take care of, but on the other hand, they also have a little bit of high maintenance. So you do have to be a very responsible and diligent owner. They're very easy to groom. You just lift them up since they're small. You lift them up, put them in your kitchen sink, wash them for 5 minutes, and that's it. You do not need to even take them to a groomer. So they will be great around kids and older adults and almost anybody really, because they can live in an apartment or condo, but you have to follow a few quick rules about them. French bulldogs are extremely good with children and older people. They're extremely playful. They don't bark a lot. They don't do anything sudden or unusual or growl. They're not aggressive dogs if they're bred properly. The French bulldogs do take special care, and I want to really emphasize that because a lot of times kids see dogs and they buy them as a fad and they think they're a lot of fun, which they are, but you have to be a responsible owner. One thing to note especially is a French bulldog, because of the small nose and a little bit of breathing problems, can get overheated more than the average dog. And they can get cold more than the average dog because they have short hair. So what I do is when I walk with Rocky, I'm extremely diligent. I carry a bag with me with, it's like a baby bag. I put Benadryl in it because they are allergic to bees. In fact, Rocky almost died of a bee sting. I had to put him in the hospital and he was in there for a couple hours. And they had to revive him with a Benadryl drip. So that's very serious. I also carry cold water with me and a little water bag. So even when you're walking them, you can give them water before they start getting overheated. Rocky and French bulldogs by breed are known to be extremely affectionate. They bond very well with their owners. In fact, they don't want to leave your side, which I wasn't used to because I hadn't had a dog before. If I leave for a few minutes and he's still with a friend, he will stand at attention like an army sergeant until I get back.
Okay, this is dog training, health, nutrition, behavior, and
I have friends
grooming.
that know him really well. They cannot even let him, he won't even blink. It's like he's in the army. So they're very, very attentive, dedicated. They're a little bit possessive of their owners. They are really easy to be with because they'll follow your schedule. There's a lot of funny stories. I've met a couple friends because of him. People have literally stopped and jumped out of their car in the middle of the street, screeched on their brakes, and said, what kind of dog is that, and so on. So I've met 2 girlfriends that way. You know, people have jumped out of the Coffee Bean restaurant, the waitresses, in the middle of giving an order because they want to take pictures of them on their cell phone. One lady at a restaurant calls him her husband. She picks him up. It's at Aunt Kizzy's in the marina. She's totally allergic to dogs, and yet she'll hold Rocky. All of the restaurant owners love him, and even though they're not really supposed to have dogs in those restaurants so much in the middle aisles, they said, oh, if it's Rocky, he's welcome anywhere. He's a huge part of my life. He's helped me do some new philanthropic activities, which is also good for me because they are mood elevators. They keep you up when you're a little bit down or depressed. So I've been going to the Boys and Girls Club with him because the kids absolutely love him. And he entertains at the old age homes, which is really lovely. I'm getting him a Delta certification so he can start working in hospitals because they're extremely good and funny. They keep smiles on everybody. They used to live only till about 8 to 10 years old, and because of the good breeding and people taking better care of them, they can get up to about 14 years old.
Breed, French Bulldog. Country of origin, England. Temperament, playful. Additional comments. Prone to breeding problems. High maintenance dogs. Good with older children.
Did you have a good time? Are you? You live in Roma?
Everybody loves me. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with any type of lung cancer, even if you smoke? Even smoking?
Therapy patient. She's doing so much better. She's not lived for 3 or 4 months now. She has a luxated patella, and that
Centerpiece. In Pasadena, California, dogs with injuries or physical problems get treatment at the Dog Paddle Hydrotherapy and Wellness Center, where hydrotherapy is the centerpiece of a rehabilitation program designed to strengthen movement and relieve pain.
This is Birdie, and she's a hydrotherapy patient, and we've been working on her for 3 or 4 months now. She has a luxated patella, and that's something that happens when their patellas can't stay in the groove of their knee, and it pops out to the side because the ligament's loose. So we're trying, because she's not a good surgical candidate due to her being a bulldog, they have a higher risk of dying under anesthesia. We're trying to do just the hydrotherapy to help build the muscle and hopefully keep the knee in place. And she came in here limping really bad. She had a lot of muscle atrophy on her leg. And now she's doing so much better. She's not limping as much, and she's doing the full time in underwater treadmill and is actually enjoying it. So I'm gonna get her started, just get her stretched out real quick. So we just kind of do a little massage and stretch her out, get her really relaxed. So now she's able to flex and extend it, which she couldn't do really before without it popping out. It's typical of the type of breed of bulldogs. Any small dogs, it's really common to have that kind of problem. All right, Miss Birdie. Over here, you know the drill. Come on. Come on, Birdie. Birdie, over here. Wait, over here, all the way over here. Good girl. Go ahead. Good job. I use peanut butter as a reward for them to walk in the underwater treadmill. And And it's really quiet, so the dogs don't get scared when the water starts coming in. The water's heated to 95 to 100 degrees, depending on how cold the day is outside. I like to regulate it. The water being heated is really good for dogs with arthritis, so it keeps their joints nice and lubricated and warm. It helps kind of relax a little bit with the muscles if they're stressed, and it's not panicky, like if they would go into a cold pool. How about your nephew?
Here's your peanut butter.
I fill it up to right under her belly, and that takes 90% of her body weight off. So that way she's walking on only 10% of her weight. There's a treadmill underneath, and the water helps support her. So as she gets better, we take the water down just a little bit, and that way she's working more on gaining more muscle. It's not giving her as much help as it originally was. This exercise helps them fully recover after an injury or from arthritis because they can't get the full range of motion. And the full range of motion meaning the full flexion and extension of their leg. So just like you were walking, fully flexing up your knee and extending your knee. And that's part of the problem when they start losing their muscle, is that they're not able to flex and extend their leg properly. So once they're doing that on the treadmill, it's kind of forcing them, and the water helps them to be buoyant, so it's not putting full pressure on their legs. It's a really great exercise for older dogs, for dogs with any kind of injury, post-operatively dogs, and we also use this for dogs that are paralyzed in the rear. And the peanut butter is very important because it keeps them walking, and it keeps them entertained, and it makes them have a really good experience here. You're doing so good today. It's like a different doggy. She's so bad without mom.
Here, we noticed that she had a problem, and we saw this place, and after treatment, she's became way better. It's an extreme difference that she's become the person that she was, the puppy that she was 2 years ago. So I'm very, very pleased with what we did with the therapy instead of going through surgery.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the free app.
Most of these pooches are in poor health, suffering from disease and hunger, and in some cases, they are also victims of cruelty. Lots of these dogs can be found in the capital city of Rosso, and ironically, many are owned. Much of the neglect, cruelty, and health issues could be avoided only if these owners would take more responsibility for their pets. Becoming aware of this increasing dog roaming problem, IFAW, the International Fund for Animal Welfare, started working with the Rosso City Council, developing the CLAW Dominica project to address the crisis. CLAW, an acronym for Community-Led Animal Welfare, provides training to the island's animal care and control officers.
Just keep him calm. Just keep him calm, man. Well done.
As well as to law enforcement officials and local veterinarians.
Sit down. She's a good girl.
The CLAW program also offers medical assistance and low-cost spay and neutering programs, educates the local population on primary health care, disseminates information on existing animal welfare laws, as well as supporting registration and the licensing of dogs.
Well done. Well done. Just stand with it. Just stand with it. Here, calm down. Keep your hands straight. Just stand with it.
Most importantly, the CLAW program gives advice on how people should care for pets and how their companion animals should be considered valuable members of society.
We see a lot of dogs that are not properly fed. You see them skinny, etc. And some that are ill-treated, some with bites, broken bones, etc. So when the project was initiated with that component of education, what we hope that persons having their dogs would care for the dog, ensure that the dogs are vaccinated, they are taken to a vet periodically to be checked, and also to feed the dogs properly, treat them, make them happy, because they are beings, and they deserve a certain level of treatment. And really tell a person, like, if you cannot keep more than one dog, or if you cannot keep a dog, do not keep it. But if you think you can only deal with one dog, then yes, get a dog, get it sterilized. And so you won't have a problem, actually creating a problem in any environment, not necessarily the city, the city is a problem at present, but you know, in any environment, any local within the Commonwealth of Dominica.
IFAW's efforts have paid off. Local attitudes towards the humane treatment of companion animals is changing. Many dogs have received much needed medical attention. But the efforts continue. IFAW and the Dominica authorities remain committed to continuing their work to help this tiny island combat its stray animal problem. Follow us on Facebook at Dogtails TV.
Okay, for more dog tales, full gymnastics videos, smash the like button, hit the big red button, and subscribe. Peace out, YouTube.